Hey y'all, I'm Brooke Hoover, a Louisiana native, actor, writer, and comedian. I've lost 100 pounds through diet and exercise, or shall I say, lifestyle changes. My 20-year and counting health journey has taught me that just like taking a diet pill for weight loss, body positivity doesn't magically happen overnight. I'm working on regaining my self-esteem and rekindling my love affair with Cajun and Southern comfort food in a healthier way, all the while juggling eating as clean as I can, reestablishing myself in the entertainment industry, which, as we know, is historically fat-phobic, all the while showing my inner fat girl some love. That's fat with a PH. Pretty hot and tempting. Let me tell y'all a tale or two. Hey y'all, it's Brooke with the Who's Dat Fat Girl, and today we have a wonderful guest, Jacqui Getz. Jacqui is a pro-age fashion styler, specifically helping ladies over the age of 50 find their style and shop smart. When Jacqui was 61, she went back to get her master's degree, y'all, in fashion. Her second master's degree at that. And her former career, she was a school principal. So when our mutual friend Anna was raving about Jacqui, who had recently helped Anna with some styling on Anna's Facebook page, I was like, Anna, I've got to reach out to Jacqui. And here we are. I will let Jacqui reintroduce herself because you will always introduce yourself better than I shall. So Jacqui, welcome and thank you so much.
Thank you, Brooke. Thank you for having me. Thank you to Anna for connecting us. And you actually got it right. I was an educator for 36 years, everything from a teacher to a consultant and finally to a school leader. My last part of being an educator, I started a New York City public school middle school
Wow.
in the West Village. And we went from 200 children to students to 900.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
I know. And I loved them, even the naughty ones. So, but after 36 years, I'd been waiting patiently to do something else. And while the norm is as an educator, you retire and then you work part-time as a consultant in education, I said, I'm done. It was wonderful and fulfilling. I loved it. My husband is a retired principal, but needed to move on. And yes, indeed, at 61, I went back to grad school. While I was a principal in 2016, I did go to FIT to get part-time on weekends and evenings to get an image consulting certificate because, you know, I just followed what I really felt I wanted to do at some point. No idea when I was going to use it. I retired and went to graduate school, a school out of Scotland that had a satellite here, and everything was about the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So while I studied sustainable fashion, it was the behind the scenes, the geopolitical, the human rights, the environmental issues. And I wrote my thesis on, can small, sustainable, women-owned brands disrupt ageism in fashion?
Goodness, Jacqui, that's
It was,
incredible.
it
And
was
you know what's funny and like funny, strange, not funny, haha. I did interviewing for the ladies' luncheon for the Fashion for Development television. I interviewed for them for like 3 or 4 years in a row. So I'm surprised our paths never crossed that way either. But
well,
I never knew about fashion being sustainable until I started working that gig for them.
right?
And I was like, wow, fast fashion is a killer.
It
So
is. It is. But my argument was that, you know, older women who are on, you know, a limited income, if there are
yes.
pensions and stuff, to keep them out of the sustainable fashion conversation, to say they're too old, they don't care, is unfair.
Mhm.
However, it also has to be more affordable because sustainable fashion is really expensive.
Yes.
So I work with women now, editing their closet, trying to at least help them in a sustainable way, look at what they have, really think how to rethink it, creating
Mhm.
outfits and everything, and then steering them hopefully towards brands that, if not sustainable, at least are worth the money they're spending and will last a long time. But you know, when you're in your 60s and 70s, your timeline is a little different, number
Mhm.
one. But mostly I just want older women to feel like, have fun,
Yeah.
enjoy yourself, take risks, pop out of that box.
Yeah. And, you know, I relate to that because I used to be, 100 pounds heavier, and I'm still
Mhm.
I'm a size 10 now.
Right?
So, there was and I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, there were not a lot of wonderful fashion options for plus size people.
No.
So I can totally relate, even though the story's a little different, I can extremely relate to that. And obviously, the plus size clothing tends to be more expensive because, they're like, well, it's more fabric. I'm like, yeah, but it's also the way y'all are marketing it,
Yeah,
etc. Money, money,
it's
money.
it's all about the marketing, and I think the two are very similar actually, because however you are, your body, so many things affect it, right? Our age, our community, whatever. And when you're an older woman, especially, a friend of mine said, I weigh less than I did in my 20s, but everything has moved to a new place.
Yes. It's
And I think all that changing bodies, trying to make sense of yourself in a garment is difficult.
Yes, and you're helping people find, like, their best selves with what they
Right.
have to work with, and I love that because you're not about, "Oh, like, you have to go out and buy all this," because, as you know, personal organizing is my side gig, and
Right.
that's another way we connected. I said, "I don't want people to go out and buy all this equipment and waste money." So
Yeah.
I appreciate we have a very similar mindset, so I know a lot of people can appreciate that, especially in New York, which is already expensive enough,
Right. Right.
but
Well, so
y
you don't want to put pressure on people.
yeah,
It's not about buying the right thing, and then what if the right thing doesn't work and you spent that money? It's like taking a breath, slowing down, pausing, finding within yourself an understanding of how to organize, how to style. Like, stop the noise, get to a place where you can say, what do I already do? I know how to organize. I'll figure it out. You help them. People know how to style. Someone has to just give them that support to say, who are you? You do know, you do have style.
yeah. And Jackie, I want to talk about because obviously people are going to mainly be listening to the podcast. Some
Right.
people may be watching. I'm loving what I can see of your outfit already. I want to describe it to people. So you have like a fabulous, I mean, you're and jump in because you're going to describe it much better than I would. So it's a blue and white striped collared shirt
It's
with
my
some
husband's.
fabulous,
Yes. And
pardon,
then
go ahead.
it's my husband's dress shirt, because now that he retired, like, what's he wearing it for?
Right, you're repurposing the dress shirts.
Right into his closet. And this is a tank top that I'd actually just ordered for my daughter, but I thought I'd wear it first because I'm learning from other women on Instagram. I'm as many risks as I take, I am learning. And I
Yes.
really love opposing prints. I love toile and I love stripes, put them together.
Yes.
And I've been working with all my cameos. I'll probably stop in the summer, but I just thought I have to find places for my paler cameos. I always wear black and white. Like, who cares? We're okay. If people don't have to judge us, if they do, I don't even care about it.
Yes,
I
because
just
that's
wanted
not
to
what's important.
right. I wanted to have fun. I literally, this is embarrassing. I lay awake for the past 2 nights figuring out I really want to do something with that toile shirt. What am I going to do? This is what keeps me up at night, along with 12,000 other worries. But
That's a good worry, that's a good thing to ruminate about at night, you
this
know?
is this is my fallback. Like, forget worrying about my daughters all the time. Then I just say, okay, what's the outfit I'm wearing?
Yes.
You
So
would
what
think some more intelligent things would run through my head after 36 years in education, but right now, this is my concern.
but you know what? That's the creative juices
Yes,
flowing,
yes,
and
I agree.
so you have put, like, a toile tank top over the dress shirt,
Yes,
and you're
exactly.
rocking it with some cameos, so it's
Right.
almost like a fabulous, like, Victorian, like, a modern Victorian
I
twist or
love
vibe
you.
that I'm
Yes,
feeling.
yes. Well said, Brooke. I'm gonna send you
Thank
my
you.
outfit. You can describe them for me.
I love it, and now yeah, I could, like, do the voiceover of the outfits, that would be funny. So what I wanna know is, are you able to maybe take a picture of this outfit and we will share it with folks, like, on the Instagram or just so
Yes.
people
I
can see it?
actually my husband was running out and I said to him, 5 seconds, just 5 seconds, quickly take a picture. So is it a good picture? I don't know. I'll send it to you. Don't worry.
Yes, but so I wanna know, how can people get in touch with you? On Instagram, on your website? So, give a plug of that right now.
So my Instagram is at the details of style. One,
Okay?
obviously one word. And my website is thedetailsofstyle.com.
Very easy, so the details of style across the board.
That's it. That's it. And they can DM
Awesome.
me on Instagram. They can email me through my website. I do in-person closet editing, virtual closet editing. I help on styling shoots. I'm there.
Yay. Nice, I love that, and she helps on styling shoots. Did y'all hear that? Because I know we have people in the entertainment biz listening. Jackie, what I wanna know, so you were a school principal.
Right.
When you did you have to wear corporate attire, or were you always very fashionable when you would how would you work with that? Was fashion always part of you?
Did not wear fashionable attire. I wore yeah, I wore jeans and high heels or high boots and jackets, and a lot of noisy jewelry so the naughty kids could hear me coming.
I like
And
that.
yes, I did not dress in a I dressed for me. Was it a typical principal way? I don't know, but I'm in Manhattan. Like, what does that matter, right? I'm in
Right,
Manhattan. I'm going to wear what I want to wear. I can't say that all of my colleagues did that, but I was always comfortable. Also, I ran a middle school, an elementary school, also, and you sit on the floor. Like, you don't walk into a classroom and stand there. You sit
right,
on the floor with the little kids. I
right.
wanted to be comfortable and stylish. And middle school, those kids are judgy.
Oh, they're really judgy. I used to teach kids acting, and these little girls one time said to me, they were looking at me, and they're like, "Where do you shop?" And, like, just to really wrench it into them, because this was in Long Island, a very Gold
Right.
Coast of Long Island, I was like, "Walmart," just so I could shut them up, because I'm like, "Who
Which
are
has
you?"
fashion Walmart. It
Yeah.
actually has some.
They have like, there's some good stuff, right? So
Yeah.
what I wanna know is,
Yeah.
there's this whole, like, looming thing over going back and doing things in the second half of your life. I'm doing my
Right.
famous air quotes. How was that going back to school to, like, not necessarily starting over, but redefining what you wanted to do? How was that? And what advice do you have for other people who might wanna do that?
Well, first of all, I love that you're saying redefining, not starting over, because the whole thing is you take what you've done; those are transitional skills. I hired a I went to grad school because I needed a bridge between retiring and redefining myself. I found a
Mhm.
program I loved. Who doesn't love research and studying? I was a little taken aback when I wrote my first paper and didn't do as well as expected because I thought, oh my God, I'm getting graded now.
Yeah.
However, it was a small program, the most wonderful colleagues. I loved every one of them. Much younger than me, so incredibly smart, so generous, so willing to collaborate. They opened my eyes to so many things. Their point of view, their lens taught me so much. They accepted me who I was for who I am, and it was fabulous. I loved it, and that kind of, and also I was so nervous about, like, I'm going to grad school. What's this going to be like? It got
Mhm.
me over that. I stopped worrying about age, and I it's like you take that away and you're
Right.
just you and them. It's your brains, it's your hearts communicating,
Mhm.
which would be nice if we could always move through the world that way without all the other, external stuff stopping us. So
Yeah.
that was fabulous and it humbled me, but it also challenged me. And
Mhm.
I always looked for challenges in my career. I didn't stay in one place. It's like, oh, there's a school that I could do some stuff in. So it was a great challenge. And for 2 years, I just, literally had no idea what I was doing technology. It was fabulous. My advice to anyone is to just do it. You can't overthink everything. When you're
Right.
redefining yourself, you're already accepting the challenge. And part of
Mhm.
accepting a challenge is to say, I have to live more in the moment. I have to be really fast and solution oriented right in the moment and stop thinking of the what ifs because that
Yeah.
will help us. And probably as a woman at 61, I'd done enough of the what ifs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it made sense, sometimes it didn't, but you really do have to give yourself permission to try.
Yeah.
And starting a business, honestly, is harder than starting a public middle school in New York City, which does sound like the highest mountain you can climb. Like, that's a ridiculous thought. But I understood that system. I knew how to get
Right.
in around it. This one, I hired a career coach. I used any connections I had. I asked questions. I find mentors.
Mhm.
It's great. Who doesn't want to be in a place of learning?
Right, and that's what I was gonna say. You are open, you are receptive. You weren't like, "Oh, I'm at FIT with all these students who are, like, decades younger than me." You were
No,
willing to learn from everyone, and you were
right,
open, and I think that's, like, something that's really wonderful about you and, like, the creative soul, and I think this is something that people, I hope, really take away is to stay open, and that's how you remain fabulous, you know?
right. And also set goals that are both attainable so you feel
Mhm.
good. But my daughter yesterday, we were flying home from Florida. She said, I'm going to manifest that we land early. And we did.
Ah!
20 minutes, which is always a pleasure. She said, I manifested it, but I really do believe you have to manifest a
Yeah,
lot more as you get older so that you hang in there and really try things. But
yeah.
who knows,
I
It's
I I like that. I like that, I'm gonna manifest that we get there early, and that's a nice, easy, attainable manifestation, and it
right.
happened, and it made everybody happy, you
We were
know?
too, yes. But,
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of dreaming and practicality have to come
Yeah,
together when you move forward in a new way.
yeah. The balance. Now, Jackie, how does a typical I mean, I know it's definitely not nothing's typical, but how does a usual session with you work? Like, if we were doing something virtually or in person,
Right.
you might wanna, can you give people a little taste of that?
Yes, they start off the same whether it's virtual or in person. We have a phone call, and I send a questionnaire. We may have another phone call, a few emails back and forth, and I send a recap of both the questionnaire and the phone call. So we set goals,
Mhm.
and the questionnaire is, nothing, obvious. It's obvious. What are your goals? What do you have in your closet? Blah 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 blah. And how do you describe your style? I ask clients to start a Pinterest board so I can see what they're drawn to. And then when it's in person, I can spend literally from 4 to 8 or 9 hours in a closet.
Wow.
And we, bring snacks. There are
Yeah.
food. And we go through, the take out the first item and there the storytelling starts. It's like take
Mhm.
something out, grab something, and we start with the storytelling and we go through everything. For some clients, I really say after listening to them, let's start with two piles right away. A pile of stuff you are wearing a lot, you're kind of bored. Why do you keep returning to them? Those are your go-tos.
Mm.
And the things that you've bought, you love, and you have no idea what to do with them. And that's
Mhm.
both virtual and in person. Sometimes we start there. Sometimes it's just like, you know what? There's so much on your plate right now. We're going to take it out piece by piece. And we do that. Then we, like everyone, you start the discard pile. What we do in our own closet edits, a discard pile, a tailoring pile, and a donate pile.
Mhm.
We
Yep.
try to find new ways to work with things. I ask, how have you worn it? Can we try it this way? Take a lot of pictures, hang things up together. It's not rocket science, but it really requires listening and respecting a client because
Mhm.
my style is me, their style is not me. We have to work together to create a common language. And also in education, your goal is to help a student become independent.
Yes.
You can't
Yes.
follow them out of third grade to fourth or out of sixth grade to seventh. Your job is to give them skills, not just the facts, but how do you your job is to help a child understand how to be curious, how to find answers, how to be very discerning, to really say, I'm analyzing all these different sources. You're giving them the tools to go forward as a learner.
Mhm.
The same thing, while I stay in close touch with clients, after we work together, I send them another detailed recap, and then I go on a site called Human Stripe, upload all their pictures, comment on every outfit we put together, why it worked. And then there's another lookbook section. So then I can create looks for them. And then there's another find section. And I can have categories of here's possibilities of purple blazers you really wanted.
Mhm.
That's it. So that takes hours and hours and hours and hours. My business plan is really awful in some ways. Don't understand how to balance it all, but it is so much fun. It's like kind of dressing a doll. Um,
Yes.
However, my job is to leave a client confident and joyful with a language that really describes them.
Yeah, I love this. And this, it reminds me of the personal organizing, but like, I mean, obviously I'm not styling at all, but like I'm doing a very bare bones. And I used to say to some clients, like you just said, my goal is to educate you to eventually where you don't have to pay me. And some of the
Right.
clients, they didn't want to do the work and I would get more money from
Yeah.
them, but I would feel guilty because I'm like, no, that's not my message. That's not my goal. So I love that you're like, here you go, baby bird, and now fly,
Yeah.
fly fashionably into the depths of New York City or Kansas City or wherever you may live. I love
Wherever.
that.
And I love when I get a text or an email like, "This is what I wore. How does it look?" Or
Ah!
just, it's like, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is we put together outfits and we have style, we go shopping. Ultimately, it's for our inner self. The external is
Mhm.
hugely important, but it's how, like, I can't, when I figured out this outfit today, I was like, zing. I just knew it. And that's what I hope people get eventually. That kind of like zing, it works. I can explain why it works.
Mhm.
Even if someone doesn't get it, I know. And it's my secret, or it's the details, the twist I put on it. But
It's
we
the
have to
details of style. It's the
it's the
details
detail
of
style and
style.
the little twist. I feel
Yeah.
like it's possible for everyone. And I have so much fun doing it.
And I can tell you do, and what I love is that you always have something additional, because I've been obviously following your
Right,
Instagram and
right.
I love all your the details of style, if you will, but the accessories, it's just the way you put it together like a puzzle. And what I want to know is this, like, so say I have like this, it's a tiger shirt my aunt gave to me.
Oh,
And with the funny fabric, it's like a chartreuse with tigers on it for the
right.
LSU Tigers back home in Louisiana. She literally gave it to me out of her closet because I screamed. I loved it. It didn't seem like my aunt's style, if you will, but she could totally pull it off, but I love it.
Right,
So,
right,
this is like, would you recommend if I have this shirt,
right.
hanging it with an outfit that might work? So, if I have, like, these black kind of pleathery leggings and a necklace,
Yeah.
should I hang them together in outfits, or should
Well,
I hang things by color? What do you think?
so I wish I had the box, but there are great things. Anyone can go on Amazon that are like little plastic things you put over your hanger and they have a hook and you
Yes.
can keep hanging stuff.
Yes.
However, other people really want to organize closets, all my white shirts, all my black. So put it together, take a picture of it, then put the
Okay.
separate pieces back. But I use Instagram to remember my outfits. I write down what I'm going to wear, but I've always done that. Like, even
Mhm.
as a principal or a teacher, I planned out my week of outfits. I've
I
always done.
I actually think that's very smart because
Yeah,
I'm reading a book today called I Didn't Do the Thing Today. And one of the chapters is about making your life more simple. And people might
right,
think, "Oh
right.
my gosh, they're writing their outfits out in advance." But no, it makes your life more simple. As you know, being
Yeah,
a principal running a school, life is complicated. So why not
yeah.
just plan it out and everything is set and ready to go?
Absolutely. And there's certain outfits, like if I had a difficult parent meeting or a big
Yeah.
PTA meeting or a meeting with, someone who was over my head and probably telling me I was doing the wrong thing, I wanted to have the outfit that gave me power and confidence. So it's like,
Yes.
so Tuesday that's happening and Thursday that. So, it gives you control. Who doesn't want control?
Exactly, and,
Like,
and these days, it's like we need it, right? Especially as like, I don't know, like, I do feel that, especially I'm 42 and I'm like, "Come on, Brooke, you gotta, like, maybe put on a little makeup and throw yourself together just for yourself, not for society, but, because I could live in leggings and a t-shirt all day, and that's what I'm working against?
yes, yes, I really do believe it. During the pandemic, my husband and I would go, we were in near Columbia University, and we would just kind of sit in their quad, and I would say, "Oh, that woman is intentionally dressed. Oh, that one's not." I
Mhm.
feel like I don't have to love what they're wearing, but you can tell when someone has intentionally put something together. And I feel like intentionality should always be a part of our lives. We can find
Mhm.
it in so many places, and one of the places not to overlook is when we get dressed in for even an at-home day. Like,
Yeah.
why even if it's leggings and a t-shirt, make sure it's just in case someone came to the door, you had to run out. Like, do you wanna look like that?
Mhm.
or is it a t-shirt that you love or whatever? I don't know,
Right.
but I'm not
And
a
you
lady.
don't wanna feel schlubby, like, I mean, I might have,
No.
like, a sweatshirt that I love, and it makes me feel good because, like, I love it and it's comfortable, but it feels a little funky, so that's right, you have to it's okay if you love it,
Right,
and if it
right,
makes you feel a certain way. Now, I'm curious, are there a couple basics that you think every person should have in their closet that you
right.
are a big fan of?
Well, the good thing about questions like that is you can Google and everyone comes up with these amazing basics. I'm a New York City person, so you have to keep that in mind. But
Yes.
for me, basics so that I can use the basics as my foundation are absolutely jeans.
Mhm.
I live in them. White shirts, short sleeve tank tops, and button down, and crisp, beautiful, nicely kept white shirts. I will not spend a lot of money on them, but I will wait until I find the right one. It makes me
Yes.
crazy that a white t shirt would cost, close to $100. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 please not. But I will really look until I find one that I like. And, for me, I have to have a lot of long pencil skirts that I can layer over. I like big sweaters. So it's jeans and definitely a selection of white and black shirts. I love, sweaters in basic colors, black, navy, and ivory or white. And then I always throw in pink, but pick your favorite. Have some plain ones you can accessorize and pick a few favorites.
Mhm.
I like one or two great skirts that you can throw on. I like shirtwaist dresses that
Yeah.
wear jeans under, or you can just wear plain. I think that coats are you have to love your coat. It has to be a
Mhm.
delicious coat you can wrap yourself up in that looks really cool.
Yes.
I think a jean jacket goes with everything. I think
Yes.
white jeans are all year, all year, all year.
That's
Please,
good to hear. I love white jeans.
all year. I have to, I know you asked me about comfy shoes. I have to have boots, I have to have kitten heels, and I have to have Oxfords. I'm not, and I'll do one pair of sneakers. So it's like finding your place. Like, what do you love to wear, and make sure belts. Everyone should have belts in their wardrobe. I
Yeah.
cannot understand when people don't belt and tuck in at all, at any shape. It will still. I really do believe it makes a difference.
You're so right. I recently worked a gig where the wardrobe designer was very similar to me in shape and size, and I was like, "You know how to dress me." And I was like, "Wait, I don't mean any disrespect." I said,
Right.
You've done this for years. You're an expert." And she's like, "Yes, but I'm also a similar body shape to you, so I get it.
Right.
You have to tie it." And, one of my best friends, Lynn, she would love you. She would get y'all would tell some tales because she said to me so much, "Brooke, you need to wear more structured clothes
Yeah.
and you need a belt." So every single belt I have in here, they're hanging up right here, has been gifted to me from Lynn or
I
one from
love
my
her.
friend Kristen. People who
Right.
have said, "Brooke, you must belt this now."
Right.
Like, please. And that's such a great tip, Jackie. Like, belt it no matter your size, belt it.
Well, I think that when we are drawn to things that are oversized, and I am very drawn to oversized things. I love that.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
and I think that you just have to know that you have to still manage the clothes. The clothes cannot manage you. And there
Oh,
are
yeah.
100 things you can Google about, if it's big on the bottom, it should be small on the top and everything. That doesn't work for me at
Right.
all because that's not doesn't work for my body style. So I have to experiment a lot. And I think one of the things that has to happen is people have to experiment more. They have to stand in front of a mirror and try on and take that time to find
Mhm.
your look and what you love. And the
Yes.
other thing that is part of your basic wardrobe is knowing your body, knowing
Yes.
your measurements, knowing what you look like naked, front, back, and center. Like you need to know that.
Yes.
And there
Yep.
are many women who are just like, "Nuh-uh, I don't want to do that."
They're
No,
too afraid, yeah, I
right,
like that you're saying that, you're like, "L Don't be afraid," because jumping into that fear or it's easy to say don't be afraid, but jump into
right.
that fear to reappear, oh, that rhymes, but you know what I mean?
But
That was
also,
so cheesy.
don't go by sizes. Go by measurements. A size
Yes,
you can a size
yes,
6 or a 10. And the minute you're hung up on the number, what it says on the label, only you can work that out. I can say 100 times to a client, that 6 doesn't look good on you, but that 6 does, but that 8 looks better. Like,
Exactly.
that
Yep.
is such internal work of understanding we've been manipulated.
Yeah.
And once you're older, stop being manipulated.
Right.
Manipulate back. Say, you know what? No. And now I go by measurements. I
Yep.
check the size guide, and that's how I pick.
And you know what, Jackie? For men, it is by measurement.
It
You know,
is.
it's so it's unfair to us. It has
100.
literally
Yeah.
given us
Mess.
a mind F. I try not to cuss too much, but it's
I
a
know.
mind fuck, if
Yeah.
you will, for women.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Like, we
So
need to jump over that. Doesn't even matter. Just figure out what looks good on you. Take your time in a dressing room. Go with a friend or go with a stylist
or go
and
with you.
yeah, and just
Yeah.
try on stuff. And if you leave with 2 amazing pieces and not the 20 hope, that's okay too.
Yep. And
Because
that's
you
2
learn them.
amazing pieces is better than 20 kinda crappy
Yes.
or
Right.
so-so.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Now, Jackie, have there been any pieces maybe you've seen in a recent closet edit, even yours, that, like, we could say goodbye to?
Right.
Like, have there been any things where you're like, "Oh gosh, no, 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 goodbye," or anything where you're like, "Oh my gosh, we have to keep," any kinda little fun
Yeah.
anecdotes?
Well, I let me just say this. What I usually say to a client who takes something out and loves it, I'm like, "What color is it?" And if they can't describe the color, it's like my face is everything. Like, you literally don't know what color it is. How are you wearing it? Because it
Yeah.
doesn't have any there's no way to name that color because there are a lot of things hanging in closets that are drab that just that seem safe but are really not. So I just
Yeah.
ask a series of questions until they say, oh, you're so brutal. But I'm not. I'm like, can you describe the color? Can you actually describe the fabric?
Mm.
Can you actually tell me how you wear this? If none of
Right.
those happen, it's like, so there
Bye.
have been times, yes, and there have been times, where I've said to client, I hold something up and they're like, am I picking? And I'm like, no, you're saying goodbye. You're saying
Right.
goodbye nicely, but and I think that in my own closet, I have definitely gotten rid of the things that, oh, maybe one day they'll fit, or I
Yeah.
really that memory. I take pictures of it, and I think that we can all start to do that. There have definitely been some outfits some of my clients put on. I just stand there until we all get to the point. It's not worth this. It's like, no,
No.
just stand there
Goodbye.
silently because, no, 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 no. Something that down to the floor in a weird color, a print that I cannot even understand was ever created. It's like
Mhm.
it's not doing them any good. On the hanger, it may have looked interesting, but they haven't road tested it. So that's how what happens. We just have to we stand and stare at each other and at the item until we all agree. Mm-mm, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. That's funny. I love it. I'm you know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna go through because as I'm in my closet right now, literally, I think there's a couple things where I could see us both having that face, and maybe
Yeah.
one of these crazy there's a shirt right here, it's like gosh, is it like a hot pinky orange coral? Do you see that color? And I don't know that I need it. It's one of these Gap, like, T-shirts. I got it. That's the problem. Actors tend to get a lot of clothes that were like, "Oh, we might need it for an audition." And
Oh, right.
self-tapes have really changed that because, I have, like, literally a self-tape wardrobe that I've pared down, so we
Right.
don't need to keep as much as we think. We could,
Yeah.
donate it and say, goodbye. Now, I'm looking at my outline over
Right.
here because, I do have a question. Um, there's some people, and I've been that person. Well, I was always a shopaholic, so I was maybe never quite that person. People who say, I don't want to buy clothes because I am trying to lose weight.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
transitioning, either they're transitioning weight wise, or maybe gender they are transitioning.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any advice for somebody who might be in the form of a transition where they don't quite want to like, how can they work with that? And I know that's a very specific question, so I hope I didn't totally put you on the spot.
No, no, I think that there's some generalities with that, right? We can go back to belts, like invest in some belts.
Yes.
And it's also I can when I ask a client, send me a Pinterest, I'm so taken aback. It's like, whoa, that's what you like?
Right.
Wow, because you haven't described anything like that in your closet.
Right.
You want it to come up. So I think people really have to spend time looking at examples of what they want to look like and the style they're aiming for. And
Mhm.
then you can take your current wardrobe as you're, say, losing weight, because that's usually what it is. People are like, I'm going to lose weight. You know, very few people keep their stuff in case they're going to gain weight, you know, or
Right.
but who doesn't have the when I was skinny, when I was heavier, what I am now? The
Mhm.
emotional stress we put ourselves through via our closets, they're like a
Yeah.
hidden weapon of grief. It's so unhealthy.
Yeah.
However, so you just have to say, all right, what is it going to look like as your clothes get bigger? We have to Google images so you see, oh, you're going to do a half tuck. You know, you're going to wear your jeans up a little higher and belt it. You're going to let your sleeves hang down if you want to. Like that's going to be your look until you're
Mhm.
ready to invest because your look's going to change. You know, your style, but it's kind of like growing your hair out, right?
Mm,
You start
yeah.
using more hair product. You know, you make it a clip. You have to put it behind your ears.
Mhm.
You're not going to buy a wig. So I think it's just saying, I'm losing weight. Here's my timeline. This is when I
Mhm.
do want to spend money. My clothes are going to get a little bit bigger and baggier. How will they look? How can I
Mhm.
manage them? Am I going to clip them? Am I going to hem them? Should I take them in? But that's all. It has to be planned out. It can't just be like, I'm going to keep them there and just tie it differently. You really have to know what your look is, work with
Mhm.
somebody and say, this is how my look will be, and this is how my clothes will have to be adapted.
Right. And, going back to manifestation that we were talking about earlier, it's almost like if you want to manifest yourself into this person, clothes are what kind of carry you,
Yes,
along that road in a
right.
sense.
So but
Yeah.
you can't, you have to be the one who's driving that transition.
Exactly. Yes.
And
And that's what I love. Like, sorry, go ahead.
no, but I agree. I mean, I feel like, you don't want to buy a new wardrobe because who knows where it's ending.
Right.
But you do have to say, all right, well, then for the next 2 months, these are my clothes until I'm going to shop in a smaller size. So, what will they look like, and how will I tailor them, alter them, tuck them, belt them?
Mhm.
What will my look be like? Because no one wants to look, totally gaunt and overwhelmed by their clothes. It says you can take a shirt that's bigger and just pull it and just safety pin it in the back, and suddenly more of your curves show. Terrific. It's
Yes.
little things like that. So,
And what I love that you're doing, you're not letting people be driven by what's in a magazine or be
right,
driven by, the current a la mode style,
right.
or you must spend the trend, or you must spend thousands of dollars. You're telling people, "Hey, I'm your co-pilot, but you take the driver's seat." So,
Yeah,
I really love that because for so long, I didn't feel like I was in the driver's seat of hardly anything. So, I think you're really empowering people. I
yeah.
really do.
I hope I am.
Yeah.
And I think that, listen, everyone hires someone to do their closet editing or styling for different reasons, and they want a different thing. And you have to do your research. Like if you want someone to be on that journey with you, how much of that? What's the ratio? It's all them and a little bit of you. It's half and half. It's more you and a little bit like. How are you going to work? What does that collaboration look like? Because at the
Exactly.
end of the day, you're home with your budget and your closet and your
Yeah.
style.
Yeah. And the details of style is where people can follow you, they can find you,
Yep.
Instagram, website, Jacqui Getz. We're gonna wrap that part up, but I'm gonna
Wonderful.
jump into the rapid fire fatness. Are you
Okay,
ready for this?
I'm ready.
So, Jackie, now that we've talked about fashion, we're gonna talk about another F word, food. Do you have, like, a favorite childhood memory that is associated with food?
My grandfather, who was French, was a chef in New York City. Went back to France with my grandmother. He used to invite his chef friends to this old farmhouse that had no running water, and they chopped the chicken head off, and I'd run
Uh-huh.
around with the little chicken head, but which is horrifying to think of. However, the food at those picnics will forever remain in my memory. The best food ever.
I love that.
I'm not a foodie. I don't cook. I do nothing. I'm really horrible. But that will stay because that every taste worked.
You know, you bringing that up, that reminds me, there's a book called A Year in Provence, and then
Yeah,
he has a sequel,
yep,
if you will, Peter Mayle, I believe.
yep,
That
yep.
reminds me of that book, the way in which
Right.
you just described that. That is such a lovely book, and I love that you know that. That's pretty fabulous, about your, grandfather.
But my
Um,
grandmother was her tomato sauce was without a doubt, I could drink it straight.
so you say sauce, not gravy, right? I mean, like,
Yeah,
I'm from Louisiana, so I say sauce, but in Jersey, there's a big thing about gravy, sauce. I say sauce.
I say sauce.
Yeah, sauce. Yeah, the people say gravy over here. I'm like, over here in Jersey, but they say gravy for
Yeah,
certain things and sauce for
right.
certain things. I'm like, "What?" Yeah, it's a whole thing.
They're
But
very
Jackie, do you have a favorite comfort food?
sushi, I do
Sushi,
I
yeah.
yeah,
My 2 of my boyfriend, that was our first date, it was a sushi date, and one of my best friends, Lori, she is obsessed with sushi, so I think of them, and now I think of
yep,
you when I think of
yep,
sushi. We
yep.
should meet up and go do sushi.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. I would
N
love it.
Now, do you have a favorite food, like, that's a healthier food?
Blackberries.
Blackberries, yeah, and they're good for you.
Yeah,
They're
I
very
love
good for you.
I was going to say water, but my daughter said, "That's pathetic," but I really do care about drinking water.
No, Jackie,
No, it's not normal.
no, I am obsessed. I used to smoke
Thank you.
cigarettes, and I quit smoking cigarettes, but I always bring my water bottle with me, and
There
my
you
mom
go.
is like, "You have an obsession." I'm like, "No, I'm obsessed with water." I'm ob
Yeah,
so I
okay, I feel better.
we're validating each other. Now, I'm gonna ask you this question, but I'm gonna kind of change it up a little bit. I usually
Okay.
ask people what's their healthy lifestyle mantra because a lot of people that I interview are coaches who have been, like, burned by the healthcare system. But
Oh,
let's change it up a little bit.
okay.
What is your, like, fashion mantra or your, like, creative style mantra?
That is a brilliant question,
Oh,
and I
thank you.
think you know what it always is? After creating or building an outfit, I really have to feel finished. You know, when I look at works of art, I think, "How did the artist know that's I'm putting my paintbrush down?" You know, I just
Yeah.
but when I'm creating an outfit and going out, and I'm talking errands even, I really do. This is my like my way of being. I really think oh no, nah, that didn't work. No, wait, wait, wait. And I have to have it all the pieces working together. And I have to know that.
Yeah.
And I think everyone should get to that point.
It's like your blank canvas and your form of creating. So if we view it fashion instead of, "Oh gosh, I have to look a certain way," it's more like,
Yeah.
I get to create something every day afresh, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And then jeans.
And then jeans, yeah, and a sweater, or
Yeah,
something, or a t-shirt, it's
really.
cool too. Yeah.
And then, like, some weird little detail that even if you're the only one who gets it, you got just put it there.
Just put that detail there, it
Perfect.
makes you feel good. Like, and you're
Yeah,
so right, like, sometimes I'll just slap on something very simple, and I've never been a simple person, but, like,
right.
jeans and a white t-shirt, but I'll put on
My
my
favorite.
my koi fish ring and knowing that that is there,
Absolutely.
you know?
That is it. Yes. Yes.
That's the details of style. And
Yeah.
Jackie, last question, do you remember a moment, I mean, there may have been a lot of moments, but one moment in particular where you found your inner fat girl, fat with a PH, pretty hot and
Yes.
tempting, where you owned yourself? What was it? What is it?
Well, you know, you when you sent me, you said about running a marathon, which I did when I was 34, but that wasn't it. I really have to say it's when I turned 50. I
Yeah?
felt a freedom I can't explain. It's like I'm 50. I just and now I'm 64. I just like everything was like, "Oh, I get to do whatever I want now." And not in a like disrespectful way, but just like I stop looking out, look in. You know,
Yeah.
people are not and not in an invisible way. Like people aren't looking at you, you're old. More like I don't care.
I
I'm
don't give up.
doing it for me. Right.
Yeah.
The whole idea of invisibility, I think some women like that idea. They
Uh-huh.
want to, it's like, don't look at me. It'll make my life easier. But in truth, I was just like, oh my God. And
Yeah.
I feel like I have like blossomed since then.
Yes, and, Jackie, do you remember the Molly O'Shannon, character I just said Molly O'Shannon, maybe. The Molly Shannon character Sally O'Malley from Saturday Night Live,
Yes,
and she's
yes,
like, "I'm 50 years old, I can kick, I can stretch," and I
right,
remember watching that when I was younger, and I'm like, I'm 42, I'm like, "I
right.
will be 50 in less than a decade," and you know what?
Mhm.
You and Sally O'Malley are helping me embrace that, you know?
It only gets better. I really mean that. It only gets better and more fun.
I love to hear that because, there's just this whole thing of, "Oh, it gets worse." It's like, no, we can
Oh,
create whatever reality we want,
right. Yeah,
you know?
100% in our own private little worlds. Just be you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I
That's
think you're so inspiring, empowering. We are gonna wrap up this
oh,
podcast, but is there
thank
anything
you.
else that you wanna leave the folks with, the folks, the fans, the listeners, the people, anything else?
Everyone has style. Everyone does. I really don't like when I hear people say, "Oh, that person has no style." Everyone's got it,
Yeah.
and just understand that, grow it, tweak it, have fun with it, but find it, own it, and enjoy it. Everyone's got style. But this was such a pleasure, Brooke. Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you so much. We had a great
Hours.
time.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me as a guest.
Of course, anytime. Thanks so much for listening, y'all. It is my hope to inspire, uplift, and entertain you with this Who's Dat Fat Girl podcast. So, if you're hungry for more, you can book me to speak or perform my solo show that inspired this podcast, Fat Girl Costumes, written by yours truly and directed by Brian Lady at your virtual or in-person event. Please visit brookehoover.com/fluffybuttproductions or email me at contactbrookhoover@gmail.com for more info. And let's follow each other on Instagram. I'm at Brooke Hoover, and the O's in my name are not the letter O, they're zeros. Not because I want to be a size 0, but because I guess I'm just so clever with my late 90s Yahoo self. And if you like this podcast, which I really hope you do, please give me a 5-star rating and write a review on Apple Podcasts. And most importantly, share this with your friends, family, and other people you may know who are as fat as we are. That's fat with a PH.